Welcome, everyone, to the Everything Show, episode 361. I am your host, Matrix Lord 212, and I'm with Steampunk Star Racing.
Hey, of AmberStreet.com.
How you been, bro? What's going on?
Same old, same old. Still living on the streets, still homeless. Doing the best I can considering, but I'm still really bummed, even though it happened over a week ago now at E3. Somebody stole my Canon camera, so I can't easily replace that because I had bought that with house money.
Wow.
And I've lost the ability to be able to do independent film unless you consider doing independent film on your iPhone, which is good for iPhone is good for vlogging as far as the video camera, but as far as if you're doing a full feature film, I used to have a Canon EOS 60D, and the nice thing about that is I had an SD memory card slot, and I could get like a 32 gig memory card, film a scene, and then switch memory cards. And it had very good optics and very good CCD, a lot better than what the iPhone has.
Now, would you find that things are getting like worse and worse and worse for you, or?
I would say yes. Things have gotten worse as time goes on. I mean, I'm miserable. I'm uncomfortable. I literally sleep on top of a pile of concrete rubble and sand, but I'm able to hide. Then I need to be able to sleep in an area where the cops here will give you a ticket for sleeping on the streets. They'll give you an $80 ticket, which is a big joke because you're already homeless. You can't afford a place anyway, or even a hotel room on a regular basis, and yet they want to penalize you further. So the key thing is to hide. When you're homeless on the streets of LA, is you need to hide, and you need to be able to, that protects you from getting mugged, and it also protects you from getting harassed by police.
How many years have you been there?
Well, this is the second time moving back to LA. Consistently, I've been here since January.
Okay. Oh, this year, right?
Yeah.
So so before January, where were you?
I was living with my cousin, Jim May.
Okay. That's the one you don't get along with, right?
Yeah, I ended up having to call the cops on him, and I don't do that lightly. I don't call, I always follow my grandfather.
Let's see the other options here. Okay.
Okay.
So you've been here you haven't been here a year yet, right? It's been since January.
I've been here the second time moving back, to LA. I've been here. I mainly moved back because I have a storage unit here. I was already paying rent on a storage unit, so if I went to a different city or a different town, I would still be homeless, but I would have no place to keep my stuff. So at least come back. I still was always kind of based in LA because I always kept a storage unit here because I didn't have the money to ship stuff back.
Right. I mean, would you ever consider going back home?
Well, no, actually, because there's no place for me to stay back home. There is no home. I was a military brat. There is no such thing as home for me.
Did you ever think like maybe, I mean, here's the thing. You're a chaos generator, right? So like,
without trying, I have a talent for it. I have a talent for it.
Why don't you create chaos in a positive way?
Well, that's a contradiction in that sense. Chaos is negative, and there's no way to create chaos in a positive way. It's very hard to do. Maybe if I was running for office, but then I would need a good social network because politicians are chaos generators.
Right.
They generate a lot of negativity and they feed off that negativity. If they let me give you an example. There's a Texas congressman. He always acts like an ignorant hick, but he's not really an ignorant hick. He's from Texas. Louis Gohmert. Louis Gohmert is a chaos generator. He pretends to be ignorant. He pretends to not be educated. He pretends to be this like redneck hick because he's playing to his base and because he feels that the people who vote for him are stupid.
Right.
He wants to be like one of them. But he used to be a judge, so he's been to college. He's educated. He should know things about evolution. He should know about global warming. Right. And one leads me to perfect chaos. Doesn't really believe, like Louis Gohmert some of the political statements he's made about Obama being a Muslim who was born in Kenya leads me to believe that he doesn't really believe that, because, and Obama knows this, because Obama has invited Louis Gohmert to the White House, and there was video, I can't remember, Young Turks did an excellent thing about it, and this shows you about how most politicians put on a face, they put on an act, they're actors.
Right.
There was a video, Obama and Louis Gohmert didn't know that they were being filmed, both joking together and seen laughing together. Mm-hmm. And this is a guy that has called Barack Obama he doesn't have his birth certificate, which is BS. That's conspiracy theory that's been long since disproven. Says horrible things about Barack Obama, but I think Barack Obama knows it's an act. Why would he invite him to the White House, and why would they? Because they're both putting on an act.
Maybe he just wanted to settle things with him.
Well, this was years ago, and he said negative things about Obama since he's been invited to the White House. Mm-hmm. It's all an act. I mean, he knows that Barack Obama is a U.S. citizen. I don't sincerely believe that Louis Gohmert believes that Barack Obama was born in Kenya, because you can look up his birth certificate. He was born in Hawaii.
Well, let me ask you a question. Talking about the politicians and stuff like that.
They're chaos generators, but unfortunately, I don't have a good social network. I don't have money. It takes money and a good social network to run as a politician.
What do you think? What do you feel the state of affairs is with America, where the Supreme Court ruling that says that there is gay marriage now, like a man can marry a man, a woman can marry a woman?
I think it's wonderful. I actually thought about doing a video vlog, because it's it's really weird that you didn't hear news about it beforehand, that it was pending or anything. It just is like a surprise big news story. I was really surprised, because there's a lot of Reagan and Bush appointed judges on the Supreme Court. And from what I understand, the Supreme Court has 5 conservative judges and 4 liberal judges, or at least five judges that were appointed by a Republican and 4 judges appointed by.
Well, what does it matter, like what they are? I mean, if they feel that that one subject they agree with, it really doesn't matter whether we're Republican, Democrat, conservative, or whatever. I mean,
I agree.
It's the motto, like I feel, live and let live. I mean,
I agree.
Like, it doesn't bother me.
Okay, go ahead.
If it doesn't bother me if people are gay and they want to get married, it doesn't bother me in the least. And I feel let people be happy. I mean, God did say, "Love thy neighbor." You know what I'm saying? He didn't have restrictions on that. So, all right, maybe it's a sin for them to do that, but isn't it a sin for just about anything? Isn't it a sin to use God's name in vain? Isn't it a sin to have sex before marriage? There's like a million sins. People sin every day. So
it's a sin to eat shellfish, according to the Bible.
So ultimately, my belief is that God is for it, because he's like, love thy neighbor. There was no restrictions in the Bible about love thy neighbor. I mean, like, there's no restrictions about that.
Well, I look at it. Okay, go ahead.
No, I mean, it's love thy neighbor. There's not love only this person or that person. It's love everyone. So, I mean, again, at the end of the day, in this day and age, people should not interfere with someone else's happiness. If it's going to bring somebody pure joy, for them to be gay and to get married, then go ahead. Like, I mean, I don't have a problem with it at all. I mean, again, if God didn't want it that way, he would have came down and said, "Hey, don't do that." So it's
okay. Well, no, I mean, I think that's a I take it from an atheist perspective, but I mean, I feel like, I mean, that's somebody else.
I'm religious, but I have a unique perspective on things. You know what I'm saying? It's like, again, like, God didn't lie when he said, "Love thy neighbor." So you need to do that. Okay. It's like, a lot of times I think people misconstrue what God says. Yeah. Misconstrue.
They misconstrue each other. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Misconstrue what God says. Yeah.
I try, despite my rough condition, I still try to have a sense of humor, but or at least a slight one. But No, it was totally
All right,
surprising.
well,
I'm thinking about doing a whole video vlog. You know, people. It's really weird. Like, it's hard to predict what will become more popular on my YouTube channel. Like, I do a rant about how Iron Man 3 sucks. A lot of people agreed with me, and that got 2,000 views. But then
wow.
I do a video vlog showing Episode 7 props from the Star Wars Episode 7 props room at Star Wars Celebration, and it only gets
Right.
30 views. So
It's weird.
I
You
would've-
never can judge.
yeah.
You can never judge. It's just best to do the way you want to do your shows or your videos, because I did sometimes a couple videos on Friday the 13th and I got like 5,000 views or whatever. You never know. I mean, I did a Star Trek video about a ship that got like ridiculous amount of views, some Doctor Who stuff. You just don't know what's going to be the most views, but that's the whole point. Just do the show the way you want to do the show. Do your videos the way you want to do it. If it's popular, okay. If not, who cares? You're having fun at the end of the day. So
No, I was pleasantly surprised. I'm a big fan of the LBG or the gay lesbian community. You know, I'm straight.
Just explain to me. Okay, I'm not really familiar with that. What does that stand for? The
lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender.
Okay.
LGBT community. Lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender.
Okay. Now I know what that means.
They all network together, and probably one of the reasons why there was a favorable Supreme Court ruling is that I can't remember. There's a couple of billionaires that are gay that have been pushing for.
Who cares though? I mean,
right,
it's not going to affect anybody's decision with other stuff. I mean,
no, I agree. I mean, I don't understand there's a lot of religious.
You know what bothers me? You know what bothers me?
Mm-hmm.
You know what bothers me? Many, years ago, right? There were people that they used to be slaves. There used to be African American that were slaves. And they judged them according to their color, and they were wrong. Okay, and then the slaves were freed. There was a time when women didn't have rights, and they were given rights, and everybody was wrong about that too. People were wrong about that too. So
women, if you think about it, it's kind of an amazing thought. Women have had the right to vote less than 100 years. They didn't get the right to vote until 1920.
Right, and what kills me is, what the hell does it matter what their sexual preference is, or if they want to get married or not? It's not going to change them as a person. It's not going to change anything. People are so shallow that they make a whole big crusade.
Well, no, I mean, you have to admit. I mean, there's good Christians.
Talking about lighting themselves on fire is ridiculous.
About this ruling, they're going to light themselves on fire.
That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Well, there's
a baby cries, please.
Well, I never understood the argument against gay marriage. It's like, what they do in the privacy of their own bedroom. Why does it concern you? Why are people against it? You should not take away anybody's happiness, period. I mean, I've heard people try to argue, well, that affects marriage between a man and a woman. I'm like, no, it doesn't.
It doesn't matter.
It's like, it doesn't have any. What somebody else does in their own private bedroom has no impact on your own.
Does God care about money?
According to the Bible, no.
Does God care about money? Right? Okay. Does God care? Okay. Fine.
Okay, go ahead.
There's a point to be made here, right?
Okay.
Does God care that Jurassic World was #1 in the box office this week?
I don't know. I don't know if there is a God.
No. I'm just. Humor me. Humor me. Just answer.
I guess
probably
if you're basing it on the God of the Bible, no, probably not.
Okay. So, what does God care about people in suits writing a thing on a piece of paper, that this piece of paper, they will obey this piece of paper, saying that people can get married if they're a man, a woman, or whatever? God doesn't care. He put people on earth to do what you got to do, right? If he feels, right, that we're doing the wrong thing, he'll come down. He'll come down. He said he'll come down, right? There'll be judgment day. There'll be all this stuff, right? Yeah. It's not happening. He's not coming down. He's not mad with it. So,
You know, I
don't
had
understand why
this.
they make a big deal about it.
This is going to be a very controversial statement, but I always the idea I've had in the back of my head. I've written 2 screenplays. I'm not that fast of a writer, but I know how to write screenplays. But I thought about writing a screenplay for a movie where there is an alien invasion, and you know, the most powerful state in the world is the United States, of course. And what they do to conquer the world and to conquer the United States, these aliens, is they use their technology to pretend to be Jesus. And they were like, I am Jesus.
That's different.
Well, I'm just saying. I think it would be a very controversial film, but it would show, like, you know, hey, if you belong to a cult and you're willing to listen to that cult too much, what it leaves it susceptible to is you're willing to believe anything.
You know what happens sometimes?
You're always going to be skeptical and critical thinking.
When you get older, you're supposed to get wiser, right?
Yeah.
So you start to learn. Like when you're a kid, it's one thing, right? You know, I still have my beliefs. I still believe in God strongly.
Oh, I respect that. I respect that. Even if I'm an atheist,
but I am smart enough to know that people twist the words of the Lord for their own personal agenda. Okay? They have these groups that believe that they have to be terrorists to kill in the name of the Lord. And that's nonsense. They have these people that are in the streets of New York City that are preaching their stuff, but then there's someone that's like a couple of steps away from them starving, and they never give them any money for food or anything. Yeah. So if you're serving the Lord, why are you making somebody suffer? Okay, so I have an open mind, and I start to see that people try to, you know, go after the weak-minded people. Okay, they think that, oh yeah, we're talking about Jesus, and then people could be like, yeah, that's right, and they'll be like, kill this person, and be like, yeah, wait a minute, you don't even know what you're talking about. Okay, so God said, love thy neighbor. In my mind, that's the way it is. So if he didn't mean it, he would, if he wanted to be more specific, he would have put it in there.
Well, fair enough. I respect.
That's,
you know, I believe in freedom
of religion. And anybody who is not, and the only thing I can say is to anybody, they shouldn't be mad at God because people interpret his word wrong. Okay? Because that's the last I heard. He don't like people taking advantage of people with money. He don't like people, you know, say that he wanted people to love thy neighbor. He wanted people where he didn't want people to cheat. He didn't want people to steal. He didn't want people to kill. So they make a big thing. Oh my God, it's a sin to do that. Well, how many times does Christians sin and they don't even realize that they're sinning?
Yeah,
a lot of times.
Well, let me give you
even having an impure thought is a sin.
Well, I had a lot of experience with the LGBT community, even though I'm straight. And the reason why is for years
technically, if you throw out food. And if you don't finish your plate, and you throw out a full thing of food, that's it.
Yeah, fair enough. For several years, I did videography work in Pensacola for a guy that was a professional drag queen. He ended up moving to Miami, and we stopped talking after he moved to Miami. But I did a lot of videography work, a lot of video editing. He had worked as a dancer for Marilyn Manson. I was hoping I'm not going to mention him by name, but basically, I was hoping because he had worked as a dancer for Marilyn Manson that if I did all this free videography work for him, that he would hook me up with his network connections. But he never did. But I hung out at Emerald City, which was a gay club, because I was doing a lot of professional work there, shooting a lot of video, and I got really familiar with the LGBT community, and they're very friendly, very good taste in art, very good taste in food. Very friendly. I had gay men all the time when I hung out at that club when I was working, hit on me. But most of them, like 99% of them, if you tell them you're straight, they'll leave you alone. They're friendly like anybody else. And I'm all about counterculture, and I'm a pretty weird guy anyway. So I actually like the community because they were like a group of outcasts, because the gay population in the United States is only about 10%. So they were like a community of outcasts, and they weren't they didn't judge you. They just accepted you as you were. That's one thing I liked about the LGBT community, even though I was straight.
Right.
And that's the reason why I know the meaning of that term too.
What else is happening in the world that you're having an opinion on?
Oh, this is something that doesn't really make the news, but I have, as an independent journalist, I have strong circumstantial evidence. I'm thinking about doing a rant about this because it really pisses me off. Union Pacific, the rail company, they basically have a monopoly on the rail lines in the United States. Up until the 1960s, this is something I've been ranting about, and it also has something to do with Amtrak's accident. It's not a conspiracy theory. This is just conjecture based on empirical data, empirical evidence that I have. But Union Pacific owns all the rail lines, and I believe that Union Pacific, because they have a monopoly on the rail lines, they're trying to lobby Congress every year anyway, because they're a big multinational corporation. They're trying to cut funding to Amtrak and get them shut down. And the reason for this is because if they could shut down Amtrak passenger service, which is the last passenger service train, which is federally funded, if they could shut them down, then they could make a lot more money hauling freight.
Wow.
Which they've already successfully shut down Amtrak in the Southeast. A lot of people are not aware of this, unless you're from, like where I'm from in Pensacola, you can't even ride an Amtrak train anymore because the original excuse they gave, oh, the rail lines are damaged because of Hurricane Katrina. Well, it's been 10 years. Well, right. I come to find out, this is my own independent investigation. I actually interviewed, he wouldn't do it on camera, but off camera, I interviewed an Amtrak employee. He said that they've been in negotiations for 10 years with Union Pacific because Amtrak doesn't own the rail lines. They're all owned by Union Pacific. And they have to get permission from, they said that Union Pacific has repaired all the rail lines since Hurricane Katrina. The rail lines are ready for passenger service in the Southeast, but the reason why they won't restore the sunset, the full sunset line, which goes through the Southeast, is because they can't get permission from Union Pacific. See, Union Pacific up until the late 60s used to offer passenger service, but then they decided it was not profitable, and they were the last private company to offer passenger service. And then after that, Amtrak took over and offered passenger service, but they don't own the rail lines. And so, and recently, a few weeks ago, this thing really made me angry. I thought about doing a rant about it. There was Congressman, I think even Louis Gohmert was one of them, was talking about cutting funding to Amtrak, and the Amtrak had a derailing recently. And the reason why they had a derailing is because they didn't have money for proper rail maintenance. There were some things on the rail, they didn't have proper money, and now they're talking about cutting their funding even more.
That's ridiculous.
And I feel like one of the companies that's pushing for this, based on circumstantial evidence, and they do have lobbyists in Congress, is Union Pacific. They need to break up Union Pacific. They are a monopoly. They own all the rail lines, and the whole point of monopoly law, which we don't really enforce anymore, is if you have—
They don't really enforce that.
Yeah.
Because I remember that GameStop bought EB Games, and that was like the two biggest video game companies in you know what I'm saying, the world. Yeah. They allowed them to merge, and they didn't even make a big stink about it.
Well, I mean,
and it's like wow.
They had antitrust against Microsoft, and Attorney General Ashcroft under Bush dropped the lawsuit. Janet, I had fully supported breaking up Microsoft. I know it's very old news. I was back in year 2001 when they dropped the lawsuit. But I felt like Microsoft is monopoly because Microsoft controls 90% of the PC market. Now, granted, Apple has about 10%, but a lot of people don't realize that Microsoft owns Apple stock, and they also have members on the board of Apple. So even though they don't directly control Apple, they have a lot of political clout and a lot of influence. And there's a lot of agreements made between Apple and Microsoft. Like, I will give you code for your new Safari browser if you only support this type of software. And so in reality, and a lot of people don't realize that if it wasn't for the funding that Microsoft gave Apple in the late 90s. Apple funded they gave Apple like $30 million. They bought $30 million in Apple stock. And if it wasn't for that $30 million of fresh funding, Apple would have went bankrupt, and then Microsoft would have been the only operating, other than Linux, which only has like a 0.5% market share.
That's
but they're pretty. People don't realize they are not just they are a monopoly because they control the competition. They just do that to give the illusion of competition.
Right. All right.
I like Apple. I mean, they build good products. I mean, Intel.
I love my iPhone, man. That's all I know. I love my iPhone.
I mean, this is I have an iPhone 4S. This thing is 4 years old.
Mine's still 5S.
Okay, well, I mean, even though it's 4 years old, the battery still lasts like a day, and it still works. I mean, I've known people who bought like fancy, expensive Samsung phones, and after a year and a half of buying a Samsung smartphone, their phone crapped out after a year and a half. They had to buy a new phone.
Wow.
And so, you know, Apple, you pay a little bit more for it, but you get what you pay for because they focus on the quality of hardware. Where Microsoft does their own software.
All right.
I mean, Microsoft is also a hardware company. They're basically a de facto PC company because the Xbox 360 and the Xbox One is basically a PC/gaming system.
Okay. Where are you located now? Are you a restaurant?
I'm over at the Greenhouse in Long Beach. It's one of the few places. One of the few places I can hang out at that I haven't been kicked out of.
That's great. And they treat you nice there?
Yeah, they treat me nice, and they have power plug-ins, and they have a fairly decent Wi-Fi connection. They block Netflix. That's the only drawback to this internet connection. I can't watch Netflix on there.
But that's fine. That, I mean, they at least they're taking care of you. That's really nice. Nice place.
Yeah, I can hang out here on the couch and relax. And
food there.
They do sell food here. Their food is kind of expensive, so I rarely ever buy food here. I usually just buy a cup of coffee just so I can qualify to hang out here. And it allows me to charge my phone. Allows me to charge my phone and my laptop. If you're homeless and you have a laptop or phone, it can be quite a challenge to try to charge it because most places in Los Angeles have anti-loitering laws and anti-loitering policies that even if you buy something, they only want you hanging out there for 30 minutes. There was a Starbucks. There was a Starbucks on Willow Street in Long Beach I used to hang out at, but the supervisor got a hair up his butt and said that he left a message to his employees that he didn't appreciate me hanging out there till 10 o'clock, and that from now on, even if I bought coffee, I could only hang out for a short time.
So I don't even go and buy stuff in there anymore.
I don't go to Starbucks anymore and buy anything. What they don't realize is when they tell people that, they're like, hey, you can't hang out here anymore. You can only hang out for a short time.
They lose a customer.
They lose a customer, and they tell you, and they won't even specify what a short time is.
Right.
Jimmy, for coffee if I don't even know how long I can hang out. Here, this is like an art gallery / coffee shop. It's very artsy, very artsy. The whole business is geared with loitering in mind. As long as you buy something, you just gotta buy something.
Maybe that could be your niche. Maybe you could take your iPhone and you could film for places like a layout, a walkthrough of their facility. You could promote their stuff on your YouTube channel, and maybe people could pay you to do that, like to just show off their businesses. Maybe you could do that with your iPhone. Maybe you can make money from that.
Well, there's YouTubers who already do that, but unfortunately, because I only have 496 subscribers, it's not big.
But you could grow. You could grow though. You can grow the channel.
Yeah, well, I mean, right now, I don't have enough.
I'm just trying to find a way for you to make money. That's all.
No, I understand.
Yeah. But anywho, you there? Oh, you got frozen. All right. Well, anyway, it's been great talking to Steampunk Stories at amberstreet.com, and we'll try to get him back.
Subscribers.
Oh, there you are. You there?
Yeah, I lost you for a second.
Yes.
Did you hear me? Did you lose me?
No, I lost you. Yeah. I thought you.
Yeah, what I was
about
trying to say was that 496 sounds like a lot of subscribers, but nobody's going to be willing to pay you for that low of subscriber base. They're going to say that's nothing. I mean, because like Philip DeFranco, he's got 20 million subscribers, and he's got
he built his. No, wait a minute.
Yeah.
He built his channel up, just like everybody else. So you could build your channel.
I've been trying since 2009. I don't know. I should have probably spent more money on PR when I had it.
Right.
But the reason why, like, the first time I moved to LA and I had bad credit and I had to prepay my lease a year up front. And this is for a crappy office space with no running water. But even after prepaying my lease a year up front, I still had like $11,000-$12,000 extra. And I had already prepaid my rent a year up front. I thought I was going to do okay. I was like, I should find something within a year, right? And I had considered spending several $1,000s on a PR firm. But the reason why I didn't spend any money on a PR firm, because like for several $1,000s, they can get you billboards. You can get a lot more traffic to your website.
Right. So how many subscribers do you have right now?
496.
Dude, it could be better. I mean, you're doing better than some, some podcast shows. I'll tell you that much, your YouTube channel. So, I mean, that's fantastic.
I just remember, okay, this is the reason why I cut back on advertising when I first moved to LA, but I think maybe it might have been a mistake. I remember I went to DragonCon 2011. I had been trying to promote my YouTube channel since 2009. I'd been doing it on I had a YouTube channel in 2007, but it was mostly just reviewing videos. I didn't actually start doing regular vlogging until 2009. In 2011 is when I first spent thousands of dollars on advertisement, and it just felt like I wasted money. I remember I had a steampunk fan table at DragonCon, and I was like, oh, DragonCon's 80,000. Are you still there? Okay.
Yes. Yes, yeah, I'm looking at your YouTube channel. Sorry.
And I was like, DragonCon's like 80,000 plus people. Maybe I'll get a bunch of subscribers if I get a fan table. And the fan table was actually free.
Okay.
But they had such strict rules that you had to man the table around the clock that I actually had to hire an employee just to be able to take bathroom breaks. So by the time I hired an employee, by the time I paid for gas, and by the time I printed out flyers in color and printed out stickers,
right.
and I spent, by the time I paid for the hotel room for both the girl that I hired, I even hired a very attractive girl with big boobs with the hope that she would get people. But I think for the $1,500 I spent on advertisement for DragonCon 2011, I got like 3 subscribers out of that.
Wow.
It was so disappointing. And so immediately,
well, now YouTube has upped the income for YouTube partners. I think 55% we make now.
I am a YouTube partner, but apparently my AdSense is permanently suspended.
You should look into that, dude. I'm sure you can get it reestablished.
Yeah, they have a new policy now, which I wish they had in 2000. My AdSense has been suspended since 2011.
But we'll look into
it. They have a new policy now where if you're found guilty of invalid click activity, they suspend your AdSense for 30 days the first time, and then if you're like a severe offender, then they permanently suspend it.
So why don't you just create another channel?
You can't, because the way once your AdSense account's been suspended, you can't create a duplicate AdSense account. If your AdSense account's suspended and that's social security number, you will not be able to receive payment even if you create a new AdSense account, because it's all that suspension is to your social. Trust me, I looked into it. If I created an AdSense account, and also it's locked on my channel. It says that I'm a YouTube partner in good standing, but it says my AdSense account suspended. I already filed an appeal, and they rejected my appeal.
Wow.
It's all done automated.
We'll talk about it off there. But
yeah, it's all done automated. Unfortunately, their tech support is lousy. You try calling their tech support, and you're on hold for an hour, and you never get to talk to a human. I don't think they have any human tech support. I think it's all automated.
Right. We're gonna take a break now, Chris, because
okay,
we're gonna take a few minute break. And I think some people may be coming on. If
Okay.
you're still around, how long are you gonna be there for?
57 more minutes until this place closes.
All right, so I will probably get in contact with you in less than 10 minutes.
Okay.
All right.
Sounds
Thank you,
good.
Steampunk Star Raising and AmberStreet.com.
Yes. Thanks for the plug again.
All right. Take care. Bye for now.